Tretinoin is a popular skincare product that is considered the gold standard for anti-aging. Dermatologists love it, and people rave about it online. And yet, a growing number of people are quitting because of side effects that are becoming too hard to ignore. And the question is, why is nobody talking about the problems with tretinoin? This isn't to say that tretinoin isn't effective. For some people, the results are no short of amazing. But there are certain issues with tretinoin that not even dermatologists talk about, and some people are paying the price. In this video, I'll discuss these glaring issues, why I personally stopped using tretinoin altogether, and what I've been using instead. I'm actually done with using tretinoin, but here's what I use instead. The problems with tretinoin run deeper than what the clinical studies reveal. Research confirms its benefits for improving collagen production, treating acne, and protecting against UV damage and photoaging. And many people experience fantastic success with this prescription-grade vitamin A product. But what critically needs to be addressed are the long-term negative effects of tretinoin that never show up in the clinical studies. While most people do very well with tretinoin, some people do not find tretinoin all that effective and will move on to something more potent like tazarotene. But that's the best case scenario. A lot of people, when they start tretinoin, experience what is known as the purge. During the retinization period, as skin adjusts to tretinoin, the skin can go haywire, surfacing acne that you didn't even know existed. Many people quit at this stage despite advice online telling them to push through. The problem is that new breakouts, especially without adequate sun protection, can leave behind long-term hyperpigmentation or dark spots, as well as acne scarring, so gains can be reversed before they even begin. And as a result, people will stop using tretinoin, keeping them from experiencing any benefits before they even begin. When I first started using tretinoin, I started getting the occasional pimple, which was weird because I never break out. And this isn't a flex. That's just to demonstrate that tretinoin really started to do a number with my skin fairly quickly. So a product that promises better skin only to do the opposite, at least initially, wasn't a great start. And honestly, it was kind of demotivating. To be clear, I was happy with my skin before I started tretinoin. I started this product to chase a potential future that wasn't guaranteed. But new acne wasn't my biggest issue. Mine was sensitivity, at least before I learned of a different issue later down the road, which I will get to in just a minute. When I first started adapalene, which is an over-the-counter retinoid product that has similar benefits to tretinoin, applying a moisturizer on top suddenly burned my skin and turned it red. That had never happened before with any other product. My skin was becoming more sensitive than it already was, and that is something that I didn't sign up for. Some people experience chronic redness and peeling, and most people experience some level of dryness, sometimes even extreme dryness, causing them to up their moisturizing game. But the dryness and peeling are expected because tretinoin sheds dead skin and reveals newer, younger skin underneath. But chronic redness, especially for sensitive skin, is the main reason why many people quit. Still, none of this is what concerns me most. And honestly, I'm surprised that more dermatologists, especially online, aren't talking about this specific issue with tretinoin. It's already established that oral isotretinoin or Accutane can contribute to meibomian gland dysfunction or MGD. Meibomian glands line the eyelids and produce oils that coat the ocular surface and prevent tears from evaporating too quickly. Once these glands are damaged or lost, the issues associated with that are hard to fix. While MGD can be treated, symptoms are largely only managed. Dry eye is a chronic side effect that significantly impacts quality of life. And while no research currently links topical tretinoin to MGD or dry eye, a large number of people online report being diagnosed with dry eye and MGD shortly after using a topical retinoid like tretinoin, even when they say they don't apply it anywhere near their eyes. Some people say that tretinoin migrates to the eyes during sleep, so applying Vaseline around the eyes may help to create a barrier so the tretinoin doesn't migrate to the eyes during the night. But again, there's no research on this, and the absence of evidence does not mean there is evidence of absence. The causes for dry eye are indeed multifactorial, but given the established connection between oral isotretinoin and MGD, and the volume of anecdotal reports from topical tretinoin users, in my opinion, this warrants serious consideration before starting any retinoid, including tretinoin. And if you already are at a higher risk of dry eye, for example, you stare at screens all day or you're going through hormonal shifts currently, this is worth raising with a dermatologist before you begin tretinoin. The good news is that alternatives do exist. Skincare products that can be just as effective as tretinoin, or even more so, without the same concerns attached. Before I show you these products and the evidence behind them, drop a comment below and let me know about your experience with tretinoin, good or bad. Genuinely curious what everyone's results have been. And also your comments and insight may help others in the comment section who are debating on whether or not they should start tretinoin. Here are some anti-aging products that science says work just as well, if not even better, than tretinoin. But first, to understand why these alternatives work, you have to know what you're actually targeting with an anti-aging skincare product. Essentially, there are three things that you want an anti-aging product to address: collagen production, cellular turnover, and oxidative damage. Tretinoin attacks all all three, but it does so aggressively. The alternatives I'm about to show you target all of these same pathways, some differently, and a few, especially when combined together, may actually outperform tretinoin without the collateral damage. So let's go ahead and walk through 7 of these tretinoin alternatives. For each one, I'll tell you what the evidence says, how it compares to retinol, and how you should use it in your routine for it to be just as effective as tretinoin. And stay with me, because number 7 on this list is one that most people have never heard of, and the available data on how it compares to tretinoin is genuinely impressive. Number 1 is glycolic acid. This is an alpha hydroxy acid, or AHA, and this is a gentle chemical exfoliant that actually stimulates collagen production in the skin and improves skin texture over time. At 5 to 10% concentration, studies show measurable improvements in fine lines, especially compared to a low-strength retinol, but with significantly less irritation. Glycolic acid promotes cell turnover like tretinoin and increases dermal hyaluronic acid, which over time may help to improve skin moisture. And this is just the number 1 product. The next product is my personal favorite. Number 2 is azelaic acid. This is a gentle acid with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It also has mild exfoliating properties. Evidence shows azelaic acid inhibits UVB-induced photoaging and fades dark spots or hyperpigmentation, all without the barrier damage of tretinoin and retinol. Azelaic acid has also been shown to manage acne. Prescription grade, like 15% or 20%, has randomized controlled trial evidence. I'm currently using over-the-counter 10% and prescription grade 15% as a means of introducing it to my skin. 3 is adapalene or retinaldehydes. Adapalene and retinaldehyde are gentle tretinoin alternatives for those who react to tretinoin but can still handle topical vitamin A products at lower potency levels. Adapalene or differin is an over-the-counter retinoid that can be bought at the drugstore without a prescription and is similar to tretinoin in efficacy but without the irritation. Retinaldehyde or retinal is another over-the-counter vitamin A product that is just one conversion step away from tretinoin, and there's emerging evidence for its anti-aging potential comparable to low-dose tretinoin. I've personally been experimenting with the Avene retinaldehyde product, but I'm still perceiving some dry eye issues, so I'm probably going to phase that out altogether. In its place, I'm going to be using the next strategy I'm about to talk about, which has robust evidence for improving collagen density in the skin. And that brings me to number 4, which is red light therapy. Red light therapy is a growing popular anti-aging modality because it stimulates mitochondrial production of ATP, which in turn upregulates the synthesis of both collagen and elastin, 2 skin proteins that are integral for younger, healthier looking skin. Multiple randomized controlled trials demonstrate significant improvement in collagen density and reduction in fine lines, skin roughness, and even discoloration. Compared with tretinoin, red light poses very little risk of photosensitivity or purging. Not saying that can't happen, but it's definitely lower risk than tretinoin. Most at-home devices like panels and masks can reach therapeutic fluency. I personally like the Huga Pro, that's what I use, and I've been using it every day for a month. Be sure to subscribe because I'm doing a before and after 30-day red light challenge in an upcoming video. Number 5 is vitamin C. Vitamin C, or L-ascorbic acid, is a potent antioxidant that has been shown to fight oxidative stress from the sun and pollution, which are both key skin agers. Vitamin C also brightens the skin. A serum containing vitamin C as well as vitamin E and ferulic acid creates potent antioxidant synergy that makes it a key layer in my skincare routine. A study even found that a vitamin C serum of 15% concentration was just as effective as retinol 0.1% for reversing signs of skin aging. I personally use the Dermatology Vitamin C 15% serum every morning before sunscreen. This also contains vitamin E and ferulic acid to stabilize the vitamin C and improve its antioxidant power. Number 6 is peptides. Topical signal peptides like matrixyl and argireline modulate key genes responsible for collagen synthesis and help improve skin elasticity and moisture content. Carrier peptides like copper tripeptide support matrix remodeling and collagen production. Double-blind trials show significant wrinkle depth improvements and reductions over 12 weeks of peptide topical application. And there's little risk with skin irritation with these products. The Dermatology Vitamin C serum actually contains 4 different collagen boosting peptides. I also like the Timeless Skincare CoQ10 serum, which is another antioxidant serum I use at night, and this also contains the peptide matrixyl 3000. 7 is the ingredient salvianolic acid B. This is a polyphenolic compound extracted from the roots of red sage, and emerging evidence shows that this compound does counteract photoaging, with some in vivo research showing it surpasses the efficacy of tretinoin. This ingredient can be found in products such as the La Roche-Posay, Toleriane, Dermalargo, moisturizer, and eye cream. I can never pronounce that, so hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Here's the thing about these 7 ingredients. Tretinoin is a single molecule that does a lot of the heavy lifting, but when you combine glycolic acid for cellular turnover, vitamin C and CoQ10 for antioxidant protection, a quality peptide for collagen signaling, and red light therapy for mitochondrial stimulation, you're hitting every major pathway using a holistic approach, without compromising your skin barrier, without a 3-month purge, and without dryness. But this sounds like a lot of products with a lot of steps. How exactly are you supposed to structure all of these in your routine? Here's how I do it. For the AM routine, routine, I start with a hydrating cleanser, pat dry, then apply 4 drops of vitamin C serum. Once that's fully absorbed, I add azelaic acid on top. Then we finish with mineral sunscreen to lock everything in. That's it, a simple 3-step routine that both protects and repairs skin throughout the entire day. For the PM nighttime routine, I alternate actives depending upon the night. I always do the double cleanse method, first using the Purito cleansing oil, then my hydrating cleanser. On damp skin, I apply 3 drops of CoQ10 serum, let it dry down, then layer azelaic acid on top. Once that's absorbed, I seal everything in with a lotion-based moisturizer first, followed by a cream moisturizer on top. About 3 times a week, currently I'm using my Huga Pro red light therapy panel for about 5 minutes. I do this right after cleansing and before applying any actives or skincare. Once or twice a week, I apply Prequel glycolic acid directly to my dry skin after cleansing. Then I follow up with just moisturizer to minimize irritation from layering other actives on top. You don't need all 7 of these products from day 1. Pick 1 or 2 of these that address your main concerns, give them 6 to 12 weeks, and track your skin. Take before and after pictures. Add another product gradually if you so desire, and based on your skin's tolerance. Listen to your skin. If you need to back off, then back off. This isn't a sprint, but neither is using tretinoin. I'm going to be doing a follow-up video on each of these tretinoin alternatives individually, not just the science, but I'll show you my results after using these products for at least 30 days. If that's useful for you, please hit that subscribe button because that's the only way you'll see what my results will be. Here's what's clear. Tretinoin is a powerful anti-aging product that many people love, but again, it isn't for everyone. And maybe it's not right for you, but that doesn't mean your skin has to suffer. Perhaps that means you just might need a gentler, but equally effective skincare approach. If you like this video, watch another. YouTube thinks you'll like this video on the screen. Check it out.